the Into the Lion's Den crit just ended, which I think means that it's a season wrap on 2021 for Legion and crit racing in general. And 2021 in American crit racing has really kind of been the year of Legion. Love them or hate them, they have called their shots and generally made them, with a couple notable exceptions. Armed Forces Cycling Classic, a couple others. They pretty much won everything that they sent the A squad to, including right here. This is the second day of Tulsa Tough. So I wanted to make a video about the main tactic they used and sort of the way they were able to do this all year so consistently. They were really using this one strategy and then just sort of applying tweaks as needed. So that strategy is basically put the team on the front early, keep the speed high, and don't freak out over small breakaways. Now, generally what they would do is very early in the race, put the entire team, all 6 riders, at the front of the race, preferably the front 6 wheels if they could get there. And they usually did, and they usually spent most of the race being 6 deep on the front like that. Now, once they would get 6 deep on the front, they would actually only rotate the first 2 riders. So they would have almost like a batting order in baseball, sort of a 1 through 6 system that they would rotate through. And if there's nothing off of the front, it would just be those first 2 riders, often Alec Cowan and Sam Boardman, just those 2 taking pulls, both powerhouse riders that can keep that speed 28, 29 miles an hour. Additionally, they're all good bike handlers, so they're going to be able to take faster lines being up there by themselves without anyone else battling them. And the other guys behind them are really just saving energy until they're needed. Now, when are those guys needed? When do they come into play? When we would get a breakaway off the front, like we've got Best Buddies rider going right here, they would basically keep rotating those 2 riders until the gap got too big, maybe 10, 15, 20 seconds, and then they would bring that 3rd rider in. But they would bring that 3rd rider in, and then if the gap keeps going out to that breakaway, bring that 4th rider in. Generally, if that break stayed to 1 person, they wouldn't have to commit more than 3 riders to bringing it back. The 2 who had been rotating the whole race probably gotten a little bit tired. Once you bring that 3rd fresh guy in, who has basically been sitting in the sweet spot there, he's not having to battle for position like the guys at the back of their train are. The hottest real estate in the peloton is basically right behind the Legion train. So the guys at the back of that train are having to basically keep their elbows out and fight for that position pretty consistently. Right here, we got an Amino Rip rider looking to bridge up to that Texas Roadhouse rider. Now, once those numbers get bigger in the breakaway, Legion would continue committing more riders to their chase, up to the point that a couple of times, I want to say in Salt Lake, maybe 2 or 3 other times, it would get all the way to their sprinter actually taking pulls. But if you think about it, if they're committing all 6 riders to chasing the breakaway, that breakaway is less than 6 riders. Unless that breakaway has perfect cohesion, fresh guys, and probably more than 6 riders, they're not going to continue to get away. So then the question is, why were the other teams not getting together and saying, hey, let's form some huge breakaways? Part of what having that full Legion train on the front does is make it hard for a large group of riders to get away. So Legion is already setting a pretty hard tempo, a 28, 29 mile per hour, just sort of baseline of speed. So it's not like you can come from the back and get a massive turn of speed and have a huge gap immediately. Now, if you do put in a big effort and do that, you really only have the space like from this corner to the next corner to do it, because Legion's got that full train on the front and they are in control. If you're trying to get past them, you can really only get a couple of guys per straightaway around that Legion train. So then the question is, how does someone beat Legion? I think there are a couple of answers to that. One is make the races longer. With a longer race, you just can't control it from wire to wire with 6 riders the way that Legion has been able to this season. I love the shorter races. I love doing the shorter races. As a fan, I like watching them. I really like watching cyclocross. I do think for these races at this level, the pros may need to be doing at least an hour and a half, or they go down to 5-man teams. That could also help. But I think that's why, and I mentioned it earlier, Armed Forces Cycling Classic, Project Echelon actually got a guy up the road who was able to stay away from Legion. Now, that was an exceptionally long and exceptionally hot race. I think the heat took a toll. It's also very early in the season, but I think that could be a model for how we would get some more dynamic, more interesting racing. Another thing that could happen is some of these other teams might sort of combine their resources, both talent wise and money wise, and come up to that level that Legion is on right now. Really, both in terms of budget and in terms of talent, Legion is sort of unparalleled in the US. That's not to say other teams aren't doing great. A lot of other teams had really good seasons and it was great racing to watch, but I think the sheer number of wins Legion has, it's almost impossible to dispute that they're just on a different level. I think the best outcome here is that some other teams that maybe have a different angle, different personality, different perspective meet them on that level. And I think that change in the level of American racing is the main thing that Legion had on their side this year. I don't think any other team was expecting that tactic of taking it on from the gun. I think that caught everybody off guard. So I think next season we may see some more interesting racing. Remains to be seen what will happen with this Into the Lions Den series. There's also all the drama surrounding USA Crits, which I will make a video on when I figure out what is going on there. I really hope that we have an awesome season next year and some other teams do step up. Let me know in the comments if there's anything that I missed here, anything you don't understand, and be happy to talk some more about it. I really enjoyed watching these races this year, and I've got my own footage from a couple more races that I'll be peppering in through the off season. So if you want more crit content, hit the subscribe button, and I'll keep that coming all off season. See you guys later. Thanks.